Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to my brand new playlist, and in this playlist we are going to talk about AWS, and specific section we are going to talk about AWS Serverless. So in AWS Serverless we are going to talk about Lambda, API Gateway, SQS, S3 and DynamoDB, all the related components, and we will see how we can build a full stack application using serverless architecture provided by AWS. So AWS is just a cloud vendor which is helping us to write lambdas, having connection with DynamoDB, storing data in DynamoDB, and S3 and SQS and all. Okay. So next, let's see what all we are going to cover in this. So this course overview just talks about specific component of AWS. I'm not targeting, okay, there is a wide variety of services I'm going to cover. This is specific section which talks about AWS serverless. So we are going to focus on API Gateway, Lambda, S3 buckets, SQS and DynamoDB. These 3-4 services we are going to target. And our objective is, if you get an opportunity to write Lambda, to write serverless functions in Node.js, having connections with the DynamoDB and mapping it with the API gateway and exposing it to the client side for your React or Angular, then you should be able to do it. Okay, this is our whole objective of this whole playlist. Okay, this is divided into multiple sections. I will just give a quick overview what I'm going to cover. First, we will set up an AWS account, which you already know, setting up the basic IAM root account, and then a secondary user, which is administrator. Don't use root account for the frequent logins. Okay, then we will talk about serverless architecture on AWS, creating lambdas, mapping your lambdas to the API gateway. Okay, and we are going to use Node.js in the technology. My YouTube channel more focused on JavaScript as client-side and server-side stuff. So I will be using Node.js for writing lambdas. We will understand how this API gateway works, how we can integrate API gateway with the lambdas and different environments. Then we will build a full stack application, and we will consume some of these services like Lambda, SQS, S3, Authorizer, Lambda, API gateway and all. And finally, we will expose whatever the API we have built to our front end. Our front end can be React, anything. We are going to expose REST interface. Okay, the communication from your client to your API gateway will be the REST contract. We are going to expose REST APIs, and this playlist will just give you an idea about basic AWS technologies. We will just cover IAM and lambdas, API gateway and all. So this is totally different diversion, AWS serverless, where you can write lambdas. We are doing a function as a service. You are writing function. You don't need to worry about the platform. You just need to worry about the code you are writing in the functions. All the providing the platform to those lambdas to at runtime environment is a responsibility of AWS. You don't need to worry about anything. You just need to focus on writing business logic. That's it. Okay. So let's get started from our next video on this. So first we will just do our setting up our AWS account, and we'll make ourselves familiar with the AWS console. And I will not be spending much time on that because I think you are already on top of it. Okay, thanks everyone. Hi everyone and welcome back, and here we are with AWS console, and this is the place from where we are going to start our journey. Okay, so what I just did is I created a brand new AWS account. I just need to add my debit card information and it started. Right now you have a root account, so you should not use root account frequently. What you can do is log in with your root account and create one administrator. So first of all, we will to take a look onto that IAM service, Identity Access Management Service on AWS. Here I'm logged in with one of the user, not from the root user. So first thing, you log in with the AWS with the root user, enable MFA, multi-factor authentication. You just need to install one app on your mobile, scan the QR code and pass the passcode twice, and you have enabled MFA. Okay, so whenever you log in with the root account, you need to enter the MFA. This is everywhere now on the GitHub, GitLab, everywhere. Okay, that is just for the security. And now next task you have to do is you have to create a user using root access. Okay, root access, create one user like TKS user I have created. This is having administrator access. So in future, if you want to log into AWS that act as administrator access, then you can just log in with this user. Okay, I created a default group which is developer admin group. Okay, I don't have a rules and policies right now. We can just take a look onto the IAM console, how this dashboards look like. Okay, so if we just look into all the users and all the account settings, right, we just have one user available and this is the group. So if you look at the overall, the security of our account, root account is secured. Now for this administrator user, you will be logging with this URL. You just need to have your user ID and password. That's the two things you need. And for programmatic access, whenever you create a new user, like if I want to create a new user, then it always asks you want to give programmatic access and console access. You can choose one. This is how we create a user, and then you can add policies and all. Generated password, and here you can actually either add it to the existing group or create a new group. That new group will just if you want to give access only for the S3 read only access. Okay. So these are existing, so we can just look for, okay, here I need to search. I was searching at different place. I want to give access only for S3, and S3 also read only access, and this is test S3. Let's see, this is the group I have created, or you can just call it as a vendor group. Okay, whenever they are logging in, this particular user is logging in, he will be able to see only S3 console, and he can only do S3 read only operations whenever he is going to access AWS from SDK. And I can just create user. This user will be created, and you just need to download this. Same happened with the administrator account. These are access key and secret key, and you can send an email. Now this user will go to this particular link and will enter user ID and password. This is how it is going to work. Now what we'll do is, let's delete this user. We don't need it for now. So whatever the resources you are creating as a test, you should always keep purging them. You don't want to get unnecessary billing. For creating users and all, you are not going to be charged. I'm talking about the compute and storage or networking resources. Okay, so this is just a basic setup. Now you are administrator, you are able to log in, so you should be able to see all the services. Like if I want to see a Lambda, I can see Lambda and API gateway and all, because I'm administrator. I can create a new Lambda, create a function. I can choose a technology, so like it's a test Lambda. I'm choosing Node.js latest version 12.x, 14.x is latest. Okay, and I can just create function. So our objective is to use AWS console to write our full stack application. It's not necessary that we are going into deep on AWS functionality. We'll just talk about the core components we are going to use, which is basic IAM and Lambda API gateway. These topics we will cover in depth, because that is what will help us to create a full stack application. Okay, let's meet in the next video, and we'll create our first Lambda, and we will go through one by one on these services first. We will just do a touch base on API gateway, Lambda, S3, DynamoDB, SQS and all these services, and then we will start our journey. Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to another video. So in the last video we have done the basic setup of AWS account. Now in this video I did log in with a root account, and how you can see this is a root account. If you see on the top, this is pointing to the global because the root account does not require region selection. This is a root user, and here we can see overall we have one user and two groups created. And these are just a few things which you should always remember, that you should not share your secret key, you should not expose it to, you should not push it to GitHub somehow, because people do mistakes, and if anybody get your access key and secret key, they can do a lot of things using programmatic access to your AWS console. Okay, always provide a least privilege to any other user which you are creating, like give them read-only access or access to a particular service. Don't create them as a AWS administrator. Okay, enable MFA, that is a must for your root account or any other privileged user. Okay, now what we are going to do here is, so we logged in with a root, and next thing which you can do is create a budget. So sometimes what happens is we do a lot of AWS things and we forget to delete or release the resources and we get charged, right? So to avoid all those things, you can create a monthly budget, set a forecast of, set a target of $10. So if your monthly budget is exceeding like $7 or $8, then you will get an email notification, okay, that you are being charged for this or this service. Are you currently using it or what? So you can actually look into this and you can take appropriate action, instead of you are getting a monthly bill of $500 and you are getting you are getting surprised in that case. Okay, how did I get that much bill? I'm not using anything. But you might have started some service and you forgot to turn it off or release the resources. Okay, so these few things which you should do before getting started with the serverless, because we are going to write lambdas and all. Lambda is event driven, right? It will consume the resources when you are triggering the request from your front end through the API gateway, right? So we have a server based technology and serverless technology. We will go into the difference, what is the basic aspect and why there is a need of serverless architecture when we already have the server based architecture, right? The only difference is when you spin up a EC2 instance, you are going to be charged for the uptime of that instance. If that instance is uptime for n number of hours, you will be charged for it. But when you are writing Lambda and you are executing in that environment, you will be charged only for the execution time of that Lambda. If you are not writing any application which is 24/7 up and running and getting customer every day, right, in that case you should go with the server based technology. But you are writing some application which is going to get traffic once in a while in a day, like some kind of asynchronous files are coming, so you want to execute asynchronous jobs. In that case you can go with the Lambda approach. Okay, so thanks everyone. So we are done with the basic setup. Now we have created a user with administrator access, we have enabled MFA on all the privileged users. Now we can start with the serverless components. Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to my playlist where we are talking about serverless, and it's all about lambdas, which is available in different cloud vendors. Like if you talk about AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, so all these cloud vendors provide these kind of features where you can write functions like lambda functions. Similarly, there is a Azure functions, right? So first of all, why we need these lambda functions to run our task? So it is required for special use case. I mean, sometimes you don't want to worry about the operating system, the patches, the security of operating system. You just want to focus on the logic which you are writing in the functions, because at the end what you are executing the code. You don't want to worry about the platform on which your code is being executed. What you need is expertise in a particular technology, okay, Java, Node.js, Ruby, and you write your code, and the serverless framework will take care of deploying your Lambda, making your Lambda available to the API gateway. Okay, So here I'm logged in with the administrator account, not the root account, and here we can just look at the Lambda. So Lambda, API gateway, all these are paired together. Now we will see the different settings of the Lambda. If I want to create a simple Lambda function, okay, hello Node.js. Okay, so I'm choosing the latest version. Advanced settings is all about memory and all, network and all. So we can choose the default VPC. Subnets we can select at least 2 subnets. So let's do this. And if you want to access a particular AWS service, then you have to assign a role. So for now we are just creating a simple Lambda. We'll take care of all those things later. Now security group, default security group for VPC. It is allowing all ports. And now we are creating our first Lambda. So I mean, if you're creating a Lambda and not executing it, then you are not going to get charged. But if you are executing Lambda, that is the only cost which you need to pay. If you are executing the Lambda, getting hits, then you have to pay. Otherwise, just creating the Lambda, it is sitting idle. It's not consuming any resource, any storage, compute or networking resource. So if this is the Lambda, and here you can see that AWS provide this nice and clean way of kind of editor field where you can also write your code, like you can create a new files, all those things. It's like a small VS code, not exactly VS code, but some kind of that. Now what you need to do is, it's a simple handler function. You can see, so it's a simple function and it is returning this JSON response, right? If you want to execute this, if you want to test this, then you can just simply action. So you can also upload a zip file if you have the code base and which has a root index.js and same kind of signature is there, then you can also upload a zip file. Upload from S3 is also possible. Okay, now we can actually test it and deploy it. Let me just see the settings. Status code creating. Okay, it's still creating the Lambda function, so that's why we are not able to test and deploy it. We can just refresh it. I mean, ideally it should not take that much time to create a Lambda. So this is all Node.js code. We choose Node.js, so it's a simple function, and this is what returning the response, and it's async. So whatever you wanted to do here, in further code we will add more files. In some file you will be writing to S3, reading from DynamoDB, writing to SQS queues, all those logics you can write. You will not be writing everything in a single code. You just need to have a root handler function. After that, this handler function can call your respective another modules, another files. It can be a whole like simple Node.js application, which is obviously not exposing some HTTP port on server. You will be writing some code only. Okay, now we can see our Lambda is created and we can test this. We can create a test event. I'm just sending this dummy JSON just to test it, and here you can see the execution detail. This is what we are getting, hello from Lambda, and here you can also see the logs. And regarding the logs, it's a long story. We are going to check the logs for a particular Lambda in the CloudWatch, which is another service of AWS, and it will give us the detailed log about a particular Lambda. So this will help us to do the debugging and all. I mean, we are not doing anything in this particular Lambda, we are just sending a response back. So this is our code. Whatever you are putting in the console.log and all these things, you can actually check in the log. And this is like you triggered once, right? Now to execute this particular function, you have to trigger it once again, because it's not a server based, it's a Lambda, which is a function which will execute when you are triggering it. So you have to test it again. You can configure multiple test events. First, whenever you are changing the code, make sure you have saved it. Okay, and then test it. Save, deploy. So first do the code change, then deploy, and then test. Same cycle. And now we will also see the logs in the CloudWatch, because we triggered this many times. So we should be able to see the logs coming up in the CloudWatch for the same. And here we can see the latest logs are here. You can see whatever I logged, that is printing here. So this will help us in debugging a Lambda, because you can't run remote debugging for Lambda as per my knowledge. What we do is, you sometimes when you do the production debugging, you have to just check in the CloudWatch or your dependent services. Okay, so this was our first Lambda. Now this Lambda, you can't execute the code from the outside world directly to the Lambda. You have to integrate this Lambda to the API gateway. So the API gateway will give you the entry point to execute this Lambda function on a particular port, on a particular API endpoint. Okay, that we will talk about. So the first video, we just created a simple Lambda function, and here we will be just using this designer, because Lambda function will be talking to SQS, will be talking to S3, will be talking to DynamoDB. So a Lambda function should have appropriate role, so that Lambda function can talk to other services. Okay, now coming back to these Lambda, we have this Lambda function provided by most of the cloud vendors like AWS, GCP, and Azure. Azure functions, AWS Lambda functions, the names are different, but they are doing the same thing. They are giving you the platform where you just need to write the code, and that's it. You write your function, map it to the API gateway, and expose it. So your client, your front-end client, should be able to call the service and get the response. Okay, so our main focus is AWS, and then maybe later I may also talk about Azure. Okay, that's it. So let's get started with the journey with the Lambda in coming videos. Thanks everyone.